space online with www.intentionalcoaching.online. I'm Priya B, and I'm a trauma-informed, ICF-accredited, NLP-trained personal strategy coach. And welcome to the latest live stream. One of the key things I love about doing this co-working live stream with people online is that it allows me to connect with consistency, and hopefully through this process I get to help others connect with consistency as well, because consistency to me is a really resourceful reframe of criterion for success, and that happens to be the theme for tonight's live stream. It's all about redefining and refining one's criterion for success. When we talk about success, how far do we define success by narratives and beliefs that we might have acquired second-handedly through experiences or through others' opinions or through situations that might no longer exist, right? When we talk about success as a concept, it's honest. What does it actually mean? The reality is success means different things for different people, and when we find ourselves locked to a certain definition of success, that leaves little wiggle room for redefining the criterion and making it more resourceful and constructive for our sense of self and our actions and our decisions and our choices, and which become more of an inhibitor towards moving forward towards an outcome, in terms of ruining our sense of drive and our sense of our sense of commitment by triggering our fears and our anxieties and our insecurities. That's when one can tap into structures that might be revealed through understanding more about neuro-linguistic programming, by noticing our lived experience of what we view success to be in our respective maps of the world. We get to notice patterns and see if these patterns are ones that serve us, and are ones that empower us, and are ones that have helped us in the past and are no longer helping us in the present perhaps. There's so much room for flexibility and adaptability when it comes to using structure to understanding what success might mean for us at any given point of time, how fluid we can make the concept of success be for us, and how far we can play with this and learn and develop new forms of thinking and feeling and being when it comes to moving towards what we experience as success in the most resourceful and empowering way. So welcome to the live stream. And I have arrived here today after a slightly hectic day, outside of my home. And yet there was something that pulled me back to this laptop today and to my workspace. Something allowed me to know that this space of work was one that was going to connect me back with consistency, was one that was going to help me strengthen my muscle memory of being very focused and simple in my view of getting things done. It was something that was going to connect me with the sense of being and doing, and free me from narratives about all these other thought patterns that might lock me into an unresourceful loop. I have reached that point where I see work as a form of freedom, work as a form of calm. I have leveraged my environment to allow work to become something that's very flowy and peaceful and authentic to myself, that allows me to, connect with work on my own terms. And I thought through this live stream, I have the opportunity of introducing you guys to the possibility of making work for you, for a change, right? Obviously, when we are at work in offices or outside and dealing with colleagues and bosses and projects and deadlines, those are situations where sometimes we may not feel as in control with what we're doing as we would like. But you know what? If we come home to a situation where work unfolds on terms that are set by us, and if we allow ourselves to turn work at home into a meditative practice that allows us to find ourselves and our dreams and our drive through this journey, that also translates into what starts to happen for us at work. So things start to shift even outside your home. For example, if one was in a situation where they felt perhaps disconnected from their sense of agency while working on a project in their, at a job site or on a business trip, but they managed to stay consistent to the ritualistic form of connecting with goals at home. Hello, hi, good to see the co-working community coming together again. Thank you for joining me. Good for you for making it once again this week and being consistent as well from your end. Congratulations. So back to what I was saying. I was talking about how we can use work as a meditative practice to strengthen and redefine and refine our relationship with purpose and action, even outside our home, even beyond our desks, even in situations where we're dealing with others. Imagine if a situation that left you feeling cut off from agency got redefined through the muscle memory you developed at your own desk at home through your work as a meditative practice. Imagine if you took that with you to your office space and found yourself moving from lack of agency to perhaps connecting with authority and shifting the frequency and the field around you with your colleagues and with your, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked my explanation. Thank you. Hello, hi. I see so many people joining us. That's so great. I'm so excited. Thank you for being here. Let's strengthen our work for meditation muscle tonight. Without further ado, especially since we're dealing with a bit of a delay in starting today, let's find our music, something that'll help us center ourselves into the zone, and then we'll start to work on we'll start with something mundane and simple and routine. In my case, that would be email. In your case, it could be something else. It could be something mathematical, something artistic, something that involves just putting words down on a paper. And yet, they constitute incremental steps forward, where you start to move towards your gains and your goals within the sacred space of your at-home meditative work zone. And then once we get that blood flowing in our minds and in our hearts towards moving forward, we then start to tackle a slightly higher job, a higher level job in terms of concentration, and we start to make things far more, successful at a higher goal. So let's jump in, and first before we jump in, let's just find some good music to play with tonight. So let's see what's available on our live streams on YouTube. I'm just going to look for something peaceful. So I'm going to type in peaceful binaural music for work. And let's see what comes up. Okay, I see some amazing options here. Since it's a bit late in the evening, and I'm sure if any of you are also dealing with this co-working journey at a late hour, I'm thinking we'll pick something a little bit relaxing that'll help us focus and feel in the moment and calm before we start to take on our routine tasks to get started. Let's pick, let's see, there's some, I also like the way they pair music with such beautiful forms of graphics, and I'm thinking of a space theme tonight. Let's see what this looks like. I see a video here labeled Limitless Focus. 40 hertz gamma binaural beats, brainwave music for super concentration and focus. And this is a channel on YouTube called Study Sonic Focus. So I'm going to activate this music and see how it feels. All right, let's do this together today. I love the visuals of space. It makes me feel like we are really operating at a much higher level today. What do you think, guys, of this music? Once again, the name of this YouTube channel is Study Sonic Focus. I highly recommend these channels to help you leverage sound to get you into the space of focus and of meditative work. Okay? Beautiful. It leaves us about 2 hours of binaural music to listen to. I'm going to get my laptop going. I've also gotten my intentional candles lit. As you can see, this is something I handcrafted myself, and it took me a lot of focus and concentration to get this glittery design going on this glass. So I keep it here in order to anchor myself once again to a state of calm and easy focus. So I notice that my desk is full of beautiful anchors that allow me to feel a sense of connection with my gifts, my identity, and my authenticity. I'll just clear my screen. So let's use the space today to redefine and refine our definition of success. Success means so many things to so many people, and yet do those meanings really help people have the experience of success? Because rather than turn success into a score or into some kind of cold calculation or measure of gains, why not turn success into an experience, into a subjective experience? Make success more about how you feel on the inside rather than how others feel about you. This allows you to develop your ability and your intuition to keep checking in within where you're at with your experience of success. Success ideally should be your journey towards feeling a sense of alignment and fulfillment with who you are and what you wish to manifest in the world around you. That, to me, is a resourceful connection with the idea and the notion of success. And to me, that represents a way of using structure and an understanding of your experience as a human being in this world to really create a definition of success that is bountiful, that is limitless, that is joyful, and that brings out the best in you, even in your own way of looking at things. Now that I've laid out the theme for today's co-working space and the possibilities that come from making success an inward journey rather than one that's externally referenced, let's start, as I had mentioned before, with something routine, just to settle ourselves into a rhythm of focus. And from there, after 20 minutes, we'll take a break, and then we'll take on a slightly higher level task that requires more concentration and more energy and more commitment from us. So I'm going to get started with my email. You guys find the equivalent of something rhythmic and easy and simple and focused and orderly for you to connect with as well. And let's regroup after 20 minutes of doing that and see where we're at and notice how we feel when we do this. Okay? So I'm going to dive right in, and I invite you to dive right in with me. See you on the other side of 20 minutes. think I've made a significant dent in my inbox. So I'm starting to feel a lot more relaxed and capable of moving to the next level of my work tonight with you guys, my fellow co-workers in this space. So thank you and congratulations on making it this far with the first phase of what we're doing tonight. So let me just, a key part of doing that routine task at the beginning of working in a meditative manner is knowing when to stop. I had reached a point I had noticed where I would have kept going because I'd sort of fallen into this rhythm that lulled me into a sense of comfort. And the problem with getting too comfortable with something is you then start to activate your limbic system, which wants you to stay safe and comfortable, right? This is that part of our brain that is risk averse and prevents us from pushing beyond our comfort zone. Now, I'm noticing that experience of wanting to stick to this comfortable routine task of just clicking my way through my inbox and clearing my emails. Yet, the whole point of doing work with focus in a meditative way is also to allow room to do something that's a little bit beyond the comfort zone. In this context, for me, that would involve pushing ahead in my studies and allowing new knowledge to enter my mind and my awareness and shape my thinking and take it beyond what I'm used to. For me, learning is a way of moving from the familiar to the unfamiliar at every level. I change as I learn, I evolve as I learn, my neurons shift as I learn, and there is that part of my brain that might be resistant to it and wants me to keep doing this predictable task of emailing. So what I'm going to do is now that I'm consciously aware of my tendency as of now to cling to the comfort zone of simply doing emails, now that I've caught myself, I'm now going to click off my email. I'm going to walk up and down my room just to shift the blood flow and get myself a little more charged up than I am now for the next level of work, a little bit more challenging, a little bit more transformational, and it's going to be all about learning. In your case, guys, maybe you can text in the comments what represents the next level of work for you as you dive deeper into turning work into a meditative and transformational journey for yourself. So I'm going to step away from the keyboard for a bit, walk up and down, and I'll be back in a few seconds. See you in about 20 seconds. Take care, guys. I'll be back. I'm back. Yeah. Wow. I'm now ready to shift myself from the comfort zone that my limbic system was trying to keep me in. And I'm going to start engaging with my prefrontal cortex, which is that part of my brain that allows me to push myself into new territory of thinking and being. This course that I'm doing is something that gives me that experience. I'm never quite the same when I make a dent in my course material. I'm always the next version of myself. And that's what we're going to do in this leg. All right? So we're now going to leave the limbo of the limbic system and enter the challenge of the prefrontal cortex part of our brain. Isn't it amazing how we are designed? The more I connect with what makes us tick as human beings, the more fascinated I feel. By the way, guys, this is not my first workspace that I have used to push myself into this state of meditative work. My coaching career began during lockdown in a tiny, cramped balcony that was screened away from trees outside. And the desk upon which I worked was a very clumsy, very difficult desk to work upon, but it was designed with a lot of care by my own father. And it was where I met my challenges, got out of my comfort zone, and really got to meet my future self as a human. And that was years ago. I have moved way past those barriers ever since. And there are more to come for sure, but somehow I feel like I'm ready. You might wonder, why do I study so much? I am an eternal student. I've always been a geek. I study everything. And I've noticed that studying is a huge component of my meditative work practice. Many people might wonder, why do I often tend to do this kind of work at night before bedtime? Well, it is tiring, I admit. It can be challenging if you've had a packed day and if you've been wrestling with other things in other areas of your life. And yet, I like sleeping after I connect with the growth that comes from a simple practice of learning and studying something that takes me to, new knowledge. I tend to make notes in anything I do, and I'm a big note taker, but it helps me to remember things as I go through course material. I'm sorry, I just wanted to check if everything was safe over there. I have a lamp burning there. This is a bit of a safety check for me. Everything seems to be fine though. I forgot to mention that drinking water and staying hydrated through this process is critical. I highly recommend that before you sit down for the meditative work practice, you make sure your glasses of water are ready for you to partake. Bottoms up. right. I have made a significant dent in my studies, and I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you yet again for taking the time out of your hectic schedules to collaborate with me in making this co-working online space such a magical and comforting and secure and creative flow space. I really enjoyed today's session with all of you. I'm pleased with the way I'm ending my night, and I can feel the benefits flowing out of this work meditative process that I just engaged in with you all. And I think this is a really good space for me to go and sleep, since in my part of the world it's definitely bedtime for all of us. In your part of the world, in case you're still awake and you have managed to connect with momentum through what we just did, congratulations, and keep going if that's what your heart tells you to do. But if you have made it this far and you feel yourself deciding that it's enough, then join me in, taking a break and decisively switching off our devices and decisively stepping away and moving towards the next stage of our activity. Rest is as important as being active, and we need to balance out the activity that we just did with rest. So good night from my end of the world. Good morning and good afternoon to you guys, wherever you are, and I wish you well. And please do check the YouTube description to know when the next live stream happens. I will update you there once I have full clarity, but this will be something that consistently happens every week, multiple times a week, and I'll be honored if you all subscribed, liked, shared, commented, and participated, and allowed this to become something that helps so many people along with us get to their future state, the future evolved state. Take care and good night. I wish you all very well.